If you're running a fast casual restaurant right now, you definitely know the score. It's that constant juggle, right? Trying to hire good people, keep those costs down, and still deliver an amazing customer experience. Feels like spinning plates sometimes.
It really does. But, what if there was a way to maybe ease that hiring pressure and find some real savings simultaneously?
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, that's exactly what we're jumping into today. We're going to look at a really potent mix. The Work Opportunity Tax Credit, that's WOTC, you'll often hear it called WOTC, and pairing it with a smart applicant tracking system, specifically ATS on demand.
Right, WOTC and ATS on demand.
Right. These tools, when they work hand in hand, they can be a serious advantage, especially now.
Okay, so maybe folks have heard of WOTC, maybe they use an ATS already, but the mission for this deep dive really is to show how putting them together, that's where the magic happens. How that integration makes hiring smoother, faster, and crucially, unlocks potentially big tax savings for fast casual spots.
Let's dive into that first part then, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, WOTC. So what is it? Fundamentally, it's a federal tax credit.
Okay.
And it's basically there to encourage businesses, like restaurants, to hire people from certain groups who, well, often face more barriers getting into the workforce.
Right, creating opportunities, but also giving the employer a tangible benefit.
Precisely.
So these specific groups, who are we actually talking about here? Can you break that down?
Sure. The WOTC program covers quite a few categories. You've got qualified veterans, for instance, people with prior felony convictions, folks receiving SNP benefits, that's the Food Assistance Program.
Okay.
Also people who've been unemployed long-term, TENF recipients, temporary assistance for needy families. Then there are designated community residents, specifically ages 18 to 39 in certain zones.
Right.
Vocational rehab referrals, some are youth hires, and people getting supplemental security income, SSI. So it's pretty broad.
That is a wide range. Okay, let's talk dollars and cents. What kind of tax credit are we looking at if you hire someone who qualifies?
Well, it varies. It can range from $2,400 all the way up to $9,600. That's
Whoa.
per eligible employee.
Wow, up to $9,600.
Yeah, but the exact amount depends on, which group they're in, how much you pay them in wages, and the hours they work.
That's a serious number. Can you give us a concrete example? How might that play out?
Okay, sure. Let's say you hire a qualified military veteran who's been out of work for 6 months or more. That hire could potentially generate that top credit, $9,600 for your restaurant.
That's a direct reduction in taxes. Huge.
It is.
So if a restaurant manager hires someone, finds out they qualify for WOTC, what's the absolute must-do step to actually get that credit? Is it automatic?
Oh, definitely not automatic. There's a key piece of paperwork, IRS Form 8850. This has to be submitted to your state workforce agency, and here's the kicker: within 28 days of the employee's first day.
28 days. Okay, that sounds like a hard deadline.
It is. Miss that window, you miss the credit. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So timeliness is absolutely critical. You need a process.
Good to know. And this WOTC program, is it new or has it been around?
It's been around a while, actually. It's proven to be pretty effective, so Congress keeps extending it. Right now, it's authorized all the way through December 31st, 2025.
Okay, so businesses can plan around it for the near future, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so that's WOTC. Now, let's pivot to the industry itself. Fast casual, we kind of know it when we see it, but what really defines this part of the restaurant world?
Yeah, it's that interesting space, isn't it, between, traditional fast food and a full sit-down meal.
Right.
You get the speed, the convenience, but usually with better quality ingredients, maybe fresher stuff, more ways to customize your order.
Like Chipotle, Panera, those types.
Exactly. Five Guys fits in there too. The places often have a bit more of a pleasant atmosphere than typical fast food.
And it's not a small niche, is it? It feels like it's grown massively.
Oh, it's huge. Globally, we're talking something like $179 billion in 2024. And the forecasts, they see it potentially hitting over $300 billion, maybe $318 billion by 2033.
Wow.
That kind of growth means one thing for sure: a ton of hiring. Constant need for staff.
Which brings us back to the challenges. Hiring in restaurants, especially lately, hasn't been easy.
Not at all. I mean, just in the U.S. quick service sector, which includes fast casual, you had something like 4.64 million workers back in 2022.
That's a lot of jobs.
It is. But the industry grapples with really high turnover. and labor shortages have been persistent. There was data from, I think, 2021 showing back-of-house restaurant jobs were still down 12% from before the pandemic.
12%? Yeah, that really hits home. You see the now hiring signs everywhere.
Exactly. So when you're dealing with that kind of hiring pressure plus tight margins, well, finding ways to recruit efficiently and save on costs becomes absolutely vital for staying profitable.
Makes perfect sense. And that's where WOTC comes back into the picture for these restaurants.
Precisely. Because efficient recruiting isn't just a nice-to-have, it's survival. And WOTC offers that cost-saving angle. What's really interesting is some research suggests that for a typical restaurant, maybe 12 to 15% of their workforce could actually qualify for WOTC.
12 to 15%. That's not insignificant. That could add up quickly.
It really could.
Do we have like a real-world story, a restaurant that actually did this?
Yes, there's a great case study. It involves a Five Guys franchise group. They have locations in Oregon, Washington, California.
Okay.
They decided to implement WOTC using a service from Walton Management Services. And it's worth mentioning, Walton is a trusted partner with ATS On Demand, the system we'll talk about.
Ah, okay. Connecting the dots there.
Right. And the really telling part, this Five Guys group had been running since 2005 successfully. But they'd never used the WOTC program before.
So potentially decades of missed savings. What happened when they finally started?
Well, that's the aha moment, like you said. After they brought Walton's WOTC service in, just within the first year, they projected something like $217,600 in tax credits.
Whoa.
Just from 86 new hires who qualified. Yeah. That's serious money they'd been leaving on the table.
Over $200,000 projected for one franchise group. Okay, let's try to quantify that 12-15% figure a bit more. What could that mean in actual dollars for a, say, typical fast casual place?
Let's run some numbers.
Yeah.
Imagine a restaurant hires maybe 50 people a year.
Okay, manageable number.
If they hit that lower end, 12% eligibility for WOTC, and let's just use an average credit of, say, $2,400 per hire, that's potentially $14,400 in tax credits annually.
$14,400. Not bad.
Now, if they get closer to 15% eligibility, that bumps up to $19,200 a year.
Okay.
And if you're a slightly bigger operation, maybe hiring 100 people a year, then you're looking at potentially $28,800 to maybe $36,000 in credits every single year.
$36,000. That's the kind of money that can make a real difference. Where could a restaurant reinvest savings like that?
Oh, lots of places. That could go straight into better employee training, maybe boost retention that way.
Good point.
Or it could fund some menu innovation, keep things fresh, attract new customers, or even just upgrades to the building, make it a nicer place to eat, nicer place to work. It's found money, essentially.
Found money. I like that. And besides the cash, are there other, maybe softer benefits to actively using WOTC?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first off, you're contributing to a more diverse workforce, right? Bringing in people with different backgrounds, different experiences.
Sure.
That can be a real strength. Plus, you often find that folks hired through these programs, veterans, people overcoming barriers, they can be incredibly loyal, really dedicated employees. They appreciate the chance. That can boost morale, maybe even lower that turnover rate we talked about.
That's a really important angle. It's not just the tax form, it's about building a better team. Okay, so WOTC, potential savings, good for the team. Let's talk about the other piece, the Applicant Tracking System, ATS On Demand. What is an ATS, basically, and why is this one a good match for fast casual?
Right, so an ATS, Applicant Tracking System, it's software, basically, designed to make the whole hiring process smoother, more automated. Think of it as like a central command center for all things recruiting.
From posting the job to onboarding.
Yeah, pretty much the whole life cycle. And ATS On Demand is a cloud-based one, specifically built for small to mid-sized businesses. That often fits the profile of a fast casual restaurant operator really well.
So what features does it have that would appeal to a busy restaurant manager trying to hire quickly?
It hits the key pressure points, things like easy job posting. It pushes your openings out to places like Glassdoor, gets more eyes on them.
Okay.
Really strong candidate management tools helps you track who's applied, schedule interviews using text messages, which is huge for reaching people quickly. It even has things like AI chatbots to handle initial questions from tons of applicants.
Saved a lot of time there, I bet.
Definitely. Then, for onboarding, it's got digital tools, less paper, gets people started faster, and crucially, analytics. You can actually see what's working in your recruitment, where your best hires are coming from.
Sounds like it's built for speed and volume, which is exactly the fast casual challenge. You mentioned cost effective, too.
Yeah, typically it's a subscription model, kind of a pay-as-you-grow thing so it scales with the restaurant's needs, which is important.
Okay, we've got WOTC for savings, ATS on demand for efficiency. Now, the big question, how does putting them together work? What does that integration actually look like?
This is where it gets really powerful. You integrate the WOTC service, specifically mentioning Walton Management Services again, with their 35-plus years of expertise in just WOTC.
Right, the Five Guys partner.
Exactly. And remember, they're a trusted partner with ATS On Demand. You embed Walton's WOTC screening right into the ATS On Demand application process.
So it's seamless for the applicant.
Totally seamless. As someone applies for a job on your site, through ATS On Demand, they answer a few extra questions, the WOTC questionnaire, powered by Walton.
And Walton's system figures out if they might be eligible.
Instantly. It flags potential WOTC candidates right there in the ATS.
Okay, that's smart. What happens next if someone's flagged?
The relevant info gets securely zipped over from ATS On Demand to Walton's system. Walton then handles the verification. Once someone is hired and confirmed as eligible, Walton takes care of all that complicated paperwork.
Including the Form 8850 within the 28 days.
Yep. They manage the forms, the submission to the state agencies, making sure it's accurate and on time. Takes that whole burden off the restaurant's plate.
So the hiring manager doesn't have to become a WOTC expert overnight.
Exactly. They can focus on finding the right person for the job. Plus, you get reporting back in ATS On Demand. You can see in real time how much you're saving through WOTC, how the program's performing. It's all connected.
That sounds incredibly efficient compared to trying to track WOTC manually on spreadsheets or something.
Oh, night and day.
So what are the top 3 benefits of doing it this integrated way?
Okay, top benefits. 1, huge efficiency gain. Automating the screening, automating the paperwork. Massive time saver.
Makes sense.
2, you maximize your credits. By screening everyone up front, automatically you catch all potential qualifiers. No eligible hires slip through the cracks because someone forgot to ask or follow up.
Right, minimizing missed opportunities.
And 3, compliance. Walton are the experts. They keep up with all the WOTC rules and deadlines. So you reduce your risk of errors, missed filings, potentially losing those credits. It's peace of mind.
Efficiency, maximization, compliance. Sounds like a win-win-win.
Pretty much. Reduced admin costs, higher credit capture. It just makes financial sense. And that partnership between Walton and ATS On Demand means it's designed to be a smooth setup.
Okay, let's just revisit those big numbers one last time to really frame the opportunity. Remind us of the scale here.
Okay, quick recap. Over 4.6 million employed in U.S. quick service in 2022. Fast casual market growing fast.
Yes.
Projected near $320 billion by 2033, meaning even more hiring.
Right.
And that WOTC eligibility rate, potentially 12 to 15% of hires.
So bringing it all together, that example of 100 hires a year, 15% eligible.
Could mean $36,000 a year in tax credits, assuming that average $2,400 credit. When you think about how many restaurants are out there, how much hiring they do, the total potential savings across the industry using WOTC, especially when streamlined with an ATS, is just enormous. It's a really significant, often untapped resource.
It really puts it into perspective. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main thing you want fast casual operators listening today to take away from this?
I think the core message is pretty clear. WOTC, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, is a real substantial way for fast casual restaurants to lower their federal tax bill. It's there for the taking. And crucially, integrating that WOTC process, especially with an experienced partner like Walton Management Services, who works closely with ATS On Demand. Integrating that right into your applicant tracking system like ATS On Demand makes the whole thing so much easier.
Right.
It streamlines hiring, makes sure you get the maximum credits you're due, keeps you compliant, and frees up your team. It's about efficiency and financial return.
So it's not just about saving money, it's about making the whole hiring machine run better.
Exactly. Smarter hiring, better bottom line.
So here's a final thought to leave everyone with. In this super competitive, fast casual world with all the pressures around costs and staffing, maybe proactively using integrated tools like WOTC and a good ATS isn't just an advantage anymore. Maybe it's becoming, well, essential for long-term success. How much potential is still sitting untapped in your hiring process right now? Something to think about.